What is Pratt?
It's pace, rhythm, and timing. You're a name guy. How does you not know?
What the hell is that supposed to mean?
As a name enthusiast, you should know this. That what brings the emotion and the soul to the music.
Welcome to Hi-Fi. I'm Marcos, this is Kurt, and today we're having a look at the latest Naim Supernait 3.
So really, what is PRAT? It stands for pace, rhythm, and timing. I know we were joking around in the beginning, but this is a thing. This is a thing a lot of UK companies believe in. One of the companies I used to work for 20 years ago called Orelle. This is something when they're designing amps. So really what it is for them, it generally is to bring out as much emotion and kind of magic to the music when it delivers the sound. So you may be wondering, how do they get there? One thing is just the way, it's the initial strike of the piano, which is kind of the timing, to the after the decay. If all of that sounds right, then it's said to have good timing. And also too is that the rhythm of the music. If your head is bouncing to the music or your foot is tapping, that's a good sign that the rhythm is good and overall the Pratt is good in an amplifier.
Supernait 3 retails for $73.99 Canadian or around $5,500 USD. It's a full analog integrated amp featuring 80 watts per channel, class AB of course. It has Naim's pretty high-end 24 volt DR power supply built in, 5 DIN and RCA inputs, including a moving magnet phono stage, which is a first for the Supernait, a class A preamp stage, and also a class A headphone amp for you headphone guys. Serious contender right here. The other really cool part about it, it also features ceramic heat sinks.
So overall, the build quality of this is excellent. When I take a look at it, it just, it doesn't look big and hefty, but this thing is heavy. I don't know at the top of your head if you know how much this thing weighs.
38 pounds.
But wow, 38 pounds for something this side is pretty impressive. Also too, even the aluminum and this is at least like a 1/4 inch or almost 1/2 inch aluminum front plate on there. The volume, that's about as smooth as it gets, I would say, for a volume control. And sometimes this is more of a soft touch button, but sometimes I prefer that nice kind of clicky feel to there. But traditional just looks like good classic Naim design. You can look at all the details in terms of the engineering side. It's everything in the back there, all the inputs, they're basically all screwed down to the chassis just to reduce any vibrations. And one thing that's even neat is the power cord. For any of you guys that may decide to buy a Naim piece in the future, it's not that the quality control is poor, because you'll find that it is loose. The only thing, the reason why they do this is because they actually want to decouple the IEC from the actual unit itself, just resulting in better sound quality.
As you may have noticed in our previous videos, we always harken back to classic Naim simplicity design, and here's a Naim piece, and you can see it in the flesh now. It is beautifully simple. It's one of those that if it's in the corner of the room, you don't really notice it, but until you walk up to it, and then you see all the beautiful machining they've done to the faceplate. The chassis is really well constructed. So to me, it's one of those favorites where like you don't notice it until you do, and then it's like, wow, that's a nice piece. If you're a car guy, this is almost like your classic Porsche. To me, it's kind of like a 959. When you first looked at a 959, just so plain, there's nothing going on until you get up into it, you start driving it, and it just blows your head off.
Since it's a classic amplifier, it's pretty easy to set up. Nice thing, it does have a phono stage that you can just plug in your favorite turntable or add a turntable. And other than that, it's pretty much analog. So there's no app or anything required. Just plug in your speakers. Really, it's quite an easy setup. The one thing I wish they did, but they never have, is if they lock this balance, because you have to sit there and stare at it and make sure it's like perfectly straight.
We took out our laser level to straighten it today. One funny thing to note, and I've always wanted to ask Naim this, is why did they put their banana plugs for the speakers the different way around than you'd think? So the right channel is on the left channel is on the right. Why is that?
Yeah, damn Naim guys.
It really is.
The right
this
side
is the
is
right,
right,
this is the left. And all of them are like that.
Yeah.
The good thing about the Supernait as well, it's not like a classic Naim piece. You don't need a whole skipping rope of DIN cables to attach to make it work. It's just plug and play, you're ready to go.
So overall sound, I really have sold with this and against this. More and more that I listen to it, I really could get an appreciation of how good it is. Everything from its dynamics to that impact, even how the so-called Pratt that they call it. There really is something groovy about it. And you know what? I'll kind of go more in detail in the music part later.
I have to say I'm a little biased because I'm a big Naim fan and I've loved listening to all of their stuff from the vintage to the new. I gotta say, I love this thing. It sounds amazing. You can tell you're getting a lot of the higher end Naim tech into this little integrated amp, so I find it really gives you a really good value for your money, believe it or not. For example, you're getting that 24 volt DR power supply in this integrated amp, which is something you'd never normally see at this price point. When it came time to perform our classic dB test on the Supernait 3, if you're the kind of listener who loves listening to music at low listening volumes, 60 dB, 50 dB, the Supernait 3 is one of the best performing low volume amplifiers we've ever had on the channel so far. Just imagine yourself sitting in your living room late at night listening to this at very low volume and you still feel the presence of all the instruments in the room.
These are one of those amps, don't let the wattage fool you. I think rated at 80 watts, it sounds a lot bigger than that is. And even through our dB test, it actually reached 93 dBs, which is a lot of power. But it's not only that it's loud, there is this feeling of dynamics. It actually almost scared me. I didn't want to blow up these speakers. It just really gets the woofers moving. At the louder levels though, Naim was never designed to have the lowest noise floor around. For example, like an M33 NAD or something like that. The thing is though, so you will notice at higher volumes, the noise floor is a little bit louder and there's a little bit more distortion as you get up there. You can still listen to the high 80s from listening position, which is quite loud, for all day long.
When it came down to listening to the Supernait 3, you may have noticed we're kind of loving this thing. We listen to all kinds of different music, and the two songs that really stood out for us today, Vince Guaraldi Trio, which you may recognize as the composer for all of the Charlie Brown soundtracks, Pebble Beach, so this is off of the original Charlie Brown soundtrack album. I just love this album. It's so simple. It's just three musicians, and it's so easy to just follow along with that rhythm and follow along with that pace. And I thought the Naim did such a good job just listening to it at low volume, at high volume. It just did a fantastic job at just portraying that. You could pick up all the detail, I find, and it was really nice just to follow that double bass in that song.
The way when they mix this, everything is quite close, and they take those pieces and they pretty much put it together in the mix itself. And really in this amplifier, what really stood out compared to other units that I've listened to is like things just, I don't know, they just come alive. And from that initial strike on the piano, and because again it's mic'd a little bit closer, you can hear it, like there's that presence, like it's there. And then follow up from the decay, it's just really on really on point. And whether that's to do with this whole Pratt thing, I don't know, but it just sounds right. For those of you there too that might want to try this track or listen to it, you know, what you should hear coming in from the left side on the percussion is they just have to do a slight rim tap. But the thing is, they also have a very short brush stroke on there. And this amplifier can just, it really can picks up the texturing on that, which is some of the better I heard, because sometimes it actually almost doesn't even sound like a brush because the strokes are so short. Again, another really good strength about this intergraded.
The second song we found really stood out for us, especially for me because I'm a bit on a Pat Metheny binge at the moment, is the Pat Metheny group, Last Train Home. This song is just, it's so interesting because the drummer in that song is mimicking the sound of almost like a steam train. So the whole song has this incredible pace to it. And I find the name just does such a great job following that pace, following that rhythm. One thing I really found with the Supernait, it really gives you that sense of scale. Like the soundstage is really large and it really fills it from edge to edge, no problem. I found you could even almost tell like the scale of a steam train in that recording.
What you'll notice in the track is everything is widened. They take the pianos in this mix and they widen it, even they widen the vocals across the stage. And then in the middle, they got this, I was doing the percussion, it's just, I don't know, it must be on a loop or something, but this guy's going crazy. It's really, really quick. And the thing with this name, it just doesn't miss the beat. You can hear it's like this, it's like just tick, 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 tick. It's like just this really quick presence on there. And then when I talk about everything that's widened in the background to create that stage that you're talking about, you know, it still does a good job just feeling that layering and know where everything is, and just creating this really just quite an engaging experience to listen to. And one thing is even the little texturing of this. There's pretty faint train horn in the back there, and this is the first time I really noticed how much presence there was in this really lightly mixed part in the music. So when comparing to other amps, if you're looking for a more accurate sound, or maybe studio sounding amplifiers, stuff like the M33 from NAD, you got a lot of stuff from Bryson, even going up to the pre-power like the 4B SSD Cube. You know, when you match it, a pre-power combo like that will give you again like maybe a feeling that more accurate sounding. You got stuff from the higher end Riga products, stuff from like Chord Electronics, and a lot of those brands, ones that kind of like focus on more of like what they call like say a musical engaging experience, or getting back to that Pratt and more how it invokes emotion. Those ones would be quite similar. I really want to try is the Hagel 390. You know, I know that amplifier pretty well, and I think I just need to get it to do a true side-by-side comparison, because those two, I think, I don't know, to me in this price range, it really does it for me. Maybe just look out in the video for the future, and hopefully we can get this comparison done someday.
When it comes down to recommending the Supernait 3, it's a bit of an all-rounder. It fits in so many different decors. It fits in so many different room sizes, anything from a small room all the way up to a fairly large room. It really has no problem powering some pretty tough speakers. So if you're after the kind of sound we described earlier in the video, this might be a really solid contender.
I have a lot of friends that worked at Naim, and let's say it's a little bit like a cult kind of thing there, but I understand it. And if you want to keep that same signature sound that they're always all looking for, a couple of speakers that they would even recommend would be Spender, Din Audio, you've got Harbeth, even a lot of the ProRack and Tannoy. Those are the ones that kind of fit that criteria of what should go with a name. And to add to that, and what they're working on to really create that synergy together, Focal and Naim are actually now owned by the same parent company. And when they do all their voicing, they're now doing a lot together. So again, that's another good one that I would really recommend to try when matching with this amp.
Thanks for watching our video on the latest Naim brick. We'll see you in the next one.